Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested. Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
35-year-old Tennessee resident Ronald Sandlin traveled to the Capitol with his friends and co-defendants, Nathaniel DeGrave and Josiah Colt, and the three began planning the trip in December. Sandlin set up a crowdfunding site where he raised money for their travel, and he shared that site on Facebook, and he said that he was organizing a caravan to D.C. Along with the request for the donation, Sandlin shared a photo of a man sitting in a car, and this man was holding a semi-automatic rifle, and he superimposed his face onto the man's body. So kind of tells you what they were planning or hoping to do in D.C. And in a message to DeGrave on December 30th, Sandlin wrote, quote, "Yo, sorry, bro. I'm going back and forth about going. Some people I respect are saying it may get dangerous. Are you down for danger, bro?" So the answer was yes. And they all decided that they were going to meet at Sandlin's house in Tennessee and then travel the rest of the way together. And in private Facebook messages, the three of them discussed the idea of having guns shipped to Sandlin's home to take with them. On January 4th, Sandlin shared a photo on Facebook. It was a photo of his friend Colt sleeping, and he was holding a weapon. And he wrote, quote, "My fellow patriots sleeping ready for the boogaloo, January 6th. So the boogaloo is a term that's often used by white supremacists. It refers to a civil war or a race war. On January 6th, Sandlin live streamed a video in which he was urging others to, quote, take the Capitol. He added, quote, "I think it is time to take the Capitol, and I don't say that lightly. I am willing to do it. I'm willing to go and fight for this country." And he repeatedly made the statement that, quote, "freedom is paid for with blood." Sandlin also noted, quote, "either way, there is going to be violence." And then sometime later, the three made their way over to the Capitol. They were wearing gas masks. They had face masks, helmets, shin guards. Sandlin was carrying a knife with him, apparently, and DeGrave had a can of bear spray in his pocket. In total, the three of them took the following items, though, to D.C., but they left most of it at the hotel. The authorities say that they took a Glock pistol, a pocket pistol, 2 magazines of ammunition, 2 cans of bear spray, gas mask, a handheld taser, a slingshot, military-style body armor, 2 helmets, an expandable baton, walkie-talkies, and several knives, including Sandlin's fixed blade, which I told you he was carrying. So once they reached the Capitol grounds, they pushed past officers and they pushed past other members of the mob as well, trying to reach the Capitol building. And they were yelling at people, quote, "We're not here to spectate anymore. The time to talk is over." And quote, "If you're not breaching the building, move out of the way." So around 2:30, Sandlin and the others entered the Capitol. And then he, along with DeGrave and a group of about 20 to 30 others, were pushing against officers. This was caught on video. The officers were guarding an exterior Capitol door. And Sandlin and, like I said, all these others pushed against them. And they were finally able to push the doors open, which allowed the mob to stream inside the building. And while this is all going down and Sandlin's pushing against them, he's yelling at these officers, quote, "Get out of the way. Your life is not worth it today. You're going to die. Get out of the way." So he later grabbed one of the officers' helmets. He tried to rip it off of his head. And then a while later, they finally left that area. From there, they made their way upstairs and they made their way to the Senate chamber hallway. Well, there were a few officers there. They were trying to stave off the mob. They were trying to secure the chamber doors. And Sandlin, as he was approaching, he started yelling at the officers, quote, "Don't you lock another door." And then he yelled at the mob to, quote, "Grab the door, grab the door." Then he started shoving officers who were guarding that door. And at one point, he apparently made contact with an officer's head. So the police were outnumbered, obviously. So the mob was successful. They breached those doors. They entered the Senate chamber. Once they were inside, Sandlin recorded a video of himself and he said, quote, "We took it, we did it." And Sandlin and his friends didn't stay in there for too long, but when they exited, they stayed in the building. So they exited the Senate. They traveled then to the Capitol Rotunda. That's where Sandlin recorded himself smoking weed, and he was heard on the video saying, quote, "We made history," and quote, "This is our house." And at some point along the way, Sandlin stole a book from somewhere in the Senate. And then he also attempted apparently to try to steal a painting, but other members of the mob took it away from him. Later that night, DeGrave asked Sandlin to untag and delete all posts, but Sandlin replied, quote, "I'm leaving it up. I'm not scared. I'll untag, but why come if you're scared?" Reality must have set in at some time, though, because Sandlin did delete all of the January 6 photos and any messages that were related to that day. And he wrote to a friend, quote, "FBI after us." It was too late, though. So Sandlin was arrested on January 28th of 2021, and in a superseding indictment, he was charged with conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstructing an official proceeding, 6 counts of assaulting officers, 2 counts of civil disorder, entering a restricted building, and disorderly conduct in a restricted building. In September of 2022, Sandlin pleaded guilty to 2 felonies, which were conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding and 1 count of assaulting officers. And based on the most serious charge, Sandlin was looking at up to 20 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The prosecutor, as usual, requested much less, only 63 months in prison, 3 years of probation, $2,000 in restitution, and a $20,000 fine, which is the largest fine I've seen so far. I believe that they asked for this large fine because Sandlin was caught trying to profit off of his crimes. He was trying to secure movie deals and book deals, and then he was trying to sell his January 6 footage. So Sandlin altogether, as far as we know, has raised over $21,000 on Give, Send, Go, which he said was for legal fees, but he has a court-appointed attorney at 0 cost to him. I mean, with all this crowdfunding and the court-appointed attorney, it is really great to see him embracing socialism like this. So I give him credit for that. And Sandlin messaged friends following his arrest, and he's shown no remorse. He said that God was on his side and, quote, "I'm a true patriot. I'll do my time proudly." And then Sandlin also stated, quote, "Lawyers said worst case scenario, 1 year in federal prison. I need to lose some weight anyway, and it's a small price to pay for my country." So U.S. District Judge Dabney Friedrich presided over this case. So I had 0 hope that she was going to give a real sentence. She is a Trump-appointed judge. She's been woefully weak in these cases. However, I give credit where credit is due, so I will say she did pretty good in this case. She didn't buy his phony remorse, and she cited numerous aggravating factors in this case, such as Sandlin calling the DOJ corrupt and the prosecutor a racist. Judge Friedrich also took exception to Sandlin's efforts to paint himself as the victim and calling the prosecution a witch hunt and politically motivated. So in the end, the judge sentenced Sandlin to 63 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that she hit him with any kind of fine, at least nothing that I could find in any reports, and her sentencing decision hasn't been published yet. So this was good, but it could have been better. I mean, he still has all that cash sitting there, right? And Sandlin has already been in prison since his arrest, so he'll be out in about 3 more years. He's been in jail since January of last year. At least that gets us past the next presidential election. So that's one good thing. And then he's going to be on probation even longer than that. Anyway, guys, I'm sure this guy will get himself into more trouble. I'm sure this isn't the last that we've heard of Sandlin, the way he seems to be an attention whore. So I will let you guys know when I hear more about him. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, subscribe. Please donate. Appreciate all of you. Thank you all. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.